Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of MS Talks. Today, I'm really excited to be having a conversation on a topic that's really close to my heart, and that's marketing, and with someone that I've been following for a really long time and have been inspired by his journey about how he has reshaped some of the things in marketing for an industry, a classic industry like investments. So today, we have on board Balaji Vaidyanathan, who's the head of marketing for Franklin Templeton, one of the largest global investment firms in the world. And he takes care of the Central European and Eastern European and the Middle East and Africa region. So Balaji, welcome on board. Thank you so much for your time. How have you been?
How have I been? I think most of us are asking ourselves that question. I think Absolutely. It's a new normal and where we are. Yes. So depending upon the day, I guess the answer to that changes. But that's how the world is nowadays. Answers are changing daily. But I've been fine, thank you. It's been a challenging environment. But at the same time, I think along with the challenges, there have been some exciting opportunities.
That's good to know. I'm happy that you're looking at the positive side of things. So let me jump on to the first question. So we're almost at the end of the year. More than 9 months into the pandemic, buying behaviors across a lot of industries have changed. Did it impact Franklin Templeton as well? What was the change for you as a marketing lead of the company? Did anything change for you as well?
Sure. So before I start that, let me just give you a quick perspective on how sales actually happens in my industry, right?
Sure.
If I look at the traditional way of buying, a lot of us in the investment management do not go directly to the end client or the end consumer. Mm-hmm. A lot of our sales is done through our advisors or the distribution network. So, for example, insurance companies, banks, independent financial advisors, etc. Yeah. Look, and given the fact that this is money we are talking about, right? We're talking about people investing with us and typically investing with us for a very long time, maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years to meet long-term goals. You would understand that it's not as simple as going and buying a toothpaste or a shampoo, or even for that matter, going and picking up a coffee from your favorite Starbucks, right? Yeah. It's a very involved and a long-term decision. So the traditional way of buying has always been where the advisor or the distributor would have multiple set of meetings with his clients, all of them face to face. That's very important to note, right? Because he's sitting across the table, explaining his goals, working out his financial plan, doing a lot of other such pre-planning before actually looking at investing. Sure. Now imagine 9 months, right? Even today, people don't want to meet others. Forget about meeting your relationship manager or your advisor. That's the biggest change which has happened in the buying behavior, where we are no more offline. They're all looking at online. So the same distributor or advisor, unfortunately, now has to rely on phone calls, emails, WhatsApp messages, and if he's lucky, a video call meeting at best, no face-to-face. And that has really been something which has dynamically changed everything in the industry. I don't think that, another 6 months or a year later, this is going to continue. We'll see some changes. But as a result of this, a lot of people have either postponed or just paused their investment buying decisions. Yeah. Second, look at it, which is another big change. People are losing jobs. People have had, cuts in their salaries and all. I think the biggest challenge has been that they're not looking at investing more money. At this stage, it's all about preserving the money, and what is there, let's just keep it. Let's not forget about getting more money. Let's just keep that going. So I think if I look at it, the way we have looked at the marketing opportunity or the challenge is to get investors to adjust to this new norm, where they're going to try and buy things in a different manner. And two, even if they choose not to buy, how are they going to just retain to what they already have instead of coming out of it? Because that's the immediate switch you want to do, right? I'm losing money, let me take it out. I don't have a job, let me take it out. But if you do that, you compromise on your long-term goals. So I think that's been one of the biggest marketing challenges which you're trying to address in this new norm.
Yes, and that brings to my next question, which was about communication. So, having noticed that personally as well, I had to change my marketing messaging or even the channels, how I'm trying to communicate to my audience. Did it have to change for you as well? Because when you were mentioning about the previous versions, there might be two types of investors. One, like you said, of maybe because of the uncertainty in the market, they're not looking at investments right now. But on the other hand, you've got certain investors who are ready to take the risk and maybe look at it as an opportunity. So did you have to segment that audience, or did anything change for you in the communication style or messaging for you for your two different type of audiences?
So yes, there were two different type of audiences, but when we started our communication exercise during this pandemic, I think the first priority was not looking at people who were wanting to invest more, because most people were uncertain and not willing to take the chance, right? And very importantly, therefore, we were looking at preservation, making sure those who have the money stay focused on the long-term goals and don't miss out by wanting to redeem. And it was all about going back to the basics. As a marketer, the most boring but effective form of communication is email, right? People underplay the importance of email. Yeah, when you go to a marketer, they say, what do you want to do? I want to do big hoardings. I want to do a TV ad. I want to do a print ad in the front page of the, say, the Gulf News or the Khaleej Times. But think about it. Who's reading it? Offline, as we traditionally knew, was almost dead. So I think going back to the basics meant rethink offline, look at online, but even within online, is the guy really going to look at that web banner when he's worried about 20 other different things? And that's where we came up with saying, let's increase our communication, but let's increase it via what's most important, which we feel during this situation, which is email. And what did we do? We wanted to make it timely. We wanted to make it relevant for him, because he's receiving thousands and thousands of emails from various people on various things. And we also consciously increased our frequency of communication during these months. That's surprising as a brand that we've upped it. But the reason for doing it is that we felt that at this point, especially people who are looking at investments are looking for reassurance. So we also launched something known as the Investment Insights of the Market Volatility Hub, which was across all our websites. And what we did as a result of that was consistently offer more and more communication to the clients and their clients through these clients on why you should continue to remain invested, why preservation is very important at this stage, and looked at these key messages to make sure that psychologically there is comfort for the clients. And that's how we completely changed it. So it was not big banners or big TV ads with reassuring messages or very happy emotional families reaching their goals. It was pure basics. It was telling them clearly that, hey, this is what you need to do to get from this point A of low to hopefully a point B, which would be much improved as we stand today, right? Look at it this way. In the first few months, the markets crashed. After that, incidentally, globally, we've probably gone back to peaks or beyond peaks. So those who've seen this path, which is the category of investors, have definitely benefited. The path B, which you spoke about, which we started addressing after a couple of months, is trying to get more and more people to come in and look at this as an opportunity. So that's when we started advocating, can you look at equity? Can you look at different types of fixed income funds, which can help you take benefit of what's happening in the current volatility? And therefore, these two segments were independently targeted and independently segmented. And that's how we reached out to different communication messages.
Yes, for me here, the biggest takeaway is, and that's what modern marketers right now are doing. A, your messaging is timely. It's personalized. And this is how you show that, you are part of this journey with them. So that's really good. And I'm happy to know that you've been also looking at that. One of the things that really struck me in your profile was how you've used storytelling. That's been really close to your heart. So tell us more about it, because I know about the campaign that you did, New World, Same Determination, which was really personalized. It resonated with the current scenario. So tell us more about it. How did you think about this creative and a personal campaign like this? What were the results? So maybe that can be something that we, like other marketers, can also look at.
Sure. So uniquely, the New World Same Determination campaign was launched across Franklin Templeton globally, but led by a small team at EMEA, of which I was a core part of. We were all working from home in the month of May, and we launched this in June. Everyone working from home in the space of 3 weeks with a common aligned objective launched the campaign together. The idea was to obviously get a first mover advantage. We believed that COVID was something which has created a certain amount of panic within people, but people were getting used to it. And they were going to now look at saying the second stage, okay, where are the opportunities? And at the same time, they need that reassurance. So we picked that up as a first mover advantage before, competitors could launch campaigns, competitors could talk about that. We started it. And we also wanted to give it a very positive direction or a positive spin. there's been a lot of negativity for a variety of reasons, right? One could either take that, give the whole fear bit to people and try and get them to invest, which has worked very successfully with some brands in the past. But the other way of looking at it is saying, can you look at it positively, give renewed hope to people to look at what can be the possibilities in these markets? And that was the crux behind the campaign. Yet at the same time, while we did a hero video, which was very inspirational around this theme, which spoke about times have changed, things have changed, but certain things like us, the way we manage money, the way we want to make sure clients try and reach their end goals, those things will never change because those are rock steady principles which we will always follow. That was one part of it. The second part of it was also we did a number of smaller videos around basic investment principles about why should you stay invested? What's the effectiveness or diversification? Why should you not time the market? And broke that up into different investment philosophies which are evergreen, and used these two as a combination where we renewed the hope with the hero video and run these smaller videos to try and support. We're not just another brand talking to a team where a creative happens and you just put a logo in the end and you never know which brand speaks, right? A lot of people did that. But we actually lived that, life, and we walked that talk to say, hey, these are the ways you do it. And then we followed it up finally by offering various types of asset classes or investment themes, which they could consider depending upon what their goals were. So capital preservation, here you go. Growth, here you go. Combination of growth, here you go. That's how we built this. And therefore, the campaign became extremely successful in what we did. And it actually did very well for us, got us good brand recognition across, and came across as a brand who was willing to stick its neck out when most brands were very worried about speaking to clients in bad times, right? Brands love to speak in good times, but they run away to speak to clients in bad times. But we said, no, if you talk during the bad times, that's when the client will believe you are what you stand for. And that's how this whole campaign worked well for us.
Well, that's good to know, because right now, all what your customer needs is to get educated and in the best relevant way. So this actually explains a lot for itself, the entire campaign and the success as well. So now the final golden question. Any suggestions, any feedback to maybe share, or even an experience to share with other marketing leaders or the wider marketing community that will be watching this later on? Anything for them that you'd like to share as final closing remarks?
So 2 points which I learned over the last few months, which I'd like to share. The first point is more to do with my industry itself. And I'm sure there'll be some asset manager marketers out there who will be learning to make a career. Our industry, if you look at it, is all about statistics. It's all about numbers. It's the left brain, right? You're talking about logic. You're talking about fact sheets. You're talking about fund performance. You're talking about alpha. You're talking about ratios, etc. Right? And you asked me a question before about storytelling. I look at it this way. How do I take those statistics and turn it into a successful story so that it communicates with our clients, whether it's advisors, distributors, or even end clients? Because I firmly believe that storytelling can drive success to those statistics. So take the left brain, use the right brain, take the numbers, get into creativity, take the logic, make it emotional, but take those statistics and finally get a story out of it. And that's the crux of whatever I've been doing in these few months and in the few years that I've successfully woven stories, and I think that I hold very close to my heart. The second thing is, and I think this is much more relevant to what we are talking about today. Everyone, and I see this with a lot of marketers, they're running around in all directions, right? Oh, these guys are doing this, let's also do it. Oh, these guys are taking this, let's do this also. These guys are talking to the clients in this way, we will also talk in the same way. Don't make that mistake. One size cannot fit all. That's one. Two, be very clear about how you want to spend, where you want to spend. You can't afford in these days of lower budgets, less marketing expenses, you have to be very clear on what is your value proposition. So my second clear message is focus on your value proposition as a brand and stick to that. See the best way to deliver that. And that's when you'll get brand success.
Yeah. I think this summarizes it a lot in terms of, that we say marketers are multitaskers. So you have to have that combination of being data driven and on the side, be creative as well. So like you said, you have to combine both sides of your brain and then make sure that you're coming up with something that actually end of the day drives revenue. So even in terms of prioritizing, because it's so vast, you can end up doing a lot of stuff. So this pretty much summarizes a lot of things. So thank you so much. And it was a pleasure having you on board. I'm sure we'll have many more talks with you because there are so many things to discuss. So thank you once again, Balaji, and speak soon.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have been here today, and I hope that there is some value for those who listen, and look forward to something more interesting coming up, and wish you and as well as the team all the very best on this new initiative.
Thank you so much, Balaji.